All right, welcome back to Jack Sports Television. I'm Brian Lyle with my partner, Damian Bell. And what we're doing today, big news out of Tampa Bay today. Derrick Brooks just retired. So we're kind of doing our takes as far as who we think from this Tampa Bay Bucs team the last 10, 15 years. Hall of Famers, certainly, I think, Derrick Brooks warrants that. We made a case last segment on John Lynch. I think John Lynch, certainly a great football player. I think, unfortunately for him, ultimately just going to be on the ballot. Which brings me to my case about Rondé Barber. I see the same thing playing out. I don't know about you.
Well, the biggest plus that Rondé has, as well as John Lynch, is he'll benefit from being with a great defense. We just saw the Hall of Fame reward the Dallas Cowboys by putting their big three in. Of course, you go back in history, they rewarded the Pittsburgh Steelers defense with at least 6 players on the Hall of Fame. They're slowly getting all the Niners in there to get together. And I think we'll have a spot for the Buccaneers coming up soon. It might take a while for John Lynch, and I think it might take a while for Rondé Barber, too. The biggest plus that I see with Rondé Barber was he was probably the best nickel cornerback that really came out of the league. You know, when you think cornerback, you think that guy just out on the end worried about that wide receiver, you know, the Dion position that cuts off one side of the field. But, you know, Rondé came up through the ranks from Virginia, went from that outside cornerback to traditional position, press coverage, went to the nickel back, took out the slot, you know, turned into that blitzing cornerback that could get that sack just about every time they sent him through there. And just key game-breaking moments. You know, you think of that game at Veterans Stadium when he gets that interception that shuts down the Eagles' drive. That's Hall of Fame material. And like I said in the last segment, with all the Hall of Famers, you could count out 5 plays that basically tell you this guy is Hall of Fame material. And Rondé's got the resume. It's just when you look at those contemporaries and other cornerbacks that got it done in the same time frame, you got to wonder if it's there.
Which brings me to the point. I'm just going to bring out some names right quick. As to me, these guys have every bit as case as Rondé Barber, and I think even more so. And I'll start with Eric Allen. Okay, Eric Allen, part of those great Philly defenses, came on with the Eagles towards the late 80s. Okay, spent time with the Eagles, Saints, Raiders, 54 interceptions, 6-time All-Pro. Okay, different schemes, so you're asking the corners to do different things, but I still think a better football player than Rondé Barber. Eric Allen, not yet in the Hall of Fame. Let me throw another name out for you, okay? Ty Law. All right, obviously he hasn't been retired long enough to be eligible for the Hall of Fame, but to me, I take Ty Law over Rondé Barber any day of the week. You'll go back to the Super Bowl where they beat the Rams. Arguably, Ty Law is the reason why they won that football game. He absolutely took those receivers out of that ball game. You look at his stats, 53 interceptions, speaks for itself, okay? Old school guys, okay? Not really old school. I'm going to say this name first, Aeneas Williams, okay? Aeneas Williams, because, again, he was on one of those bad football teams, the Cardinals. A lot of people didn't know about Aeneas Williams. The only time you hear about Aeneas Williams, television-wise, was when they played the Cowboys, and you get on national TV for that. 55 interceptions, member of the All-90s Decade team, and I'll point out Rondé's a member of the 2000 All-Decade team, but to me, Aeneas, no matter what system you put him in, he would have shined, okay? And it is about fitting in the right system, and Rondé was fortunate he was in that system. 2 old school guys, though, that were very effective in the systems they played, which is bump and run. James Hasty.
Yeah.
James Hasty, old school, out of Washington State, 45 interceptions, did it big time with the Jets, did it big time with the Chiefs, and later with the Raiders. Speaking of the Raiders, another old school get-in-your-face guy, Terry McDaniel. Terry McDaniel out of Tennessee, Vols, get in your face, bump and run, nasty, 35 interceptions. And these are guys that, you know, not always didn't have the great pass rush, but when you're on that island truly by yourself, and you know your guys might not get to the quarterback, at least Rondé had the benefit, hey man, I've got Sapp, I've got Simeon Rice, I've got Booger McFarland. Doesn't matter who it is, they brought waves of D linemen that got after that quarterback. These other guys didn't do that. Okay, so Rondé to me, you know, great ball player, the 30 interceptions, the 20, let me get this right. How many sacks did he have? 25 sacks, 37 interceptions. Only guy that's done that, a lot has to do with scheme. I give him a lot of credit. But I can't make the argument that he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame instead of those other guys, especially when the Bucs only went to 1 Super Bowl.
I can give him that benefit of the doubt. I can put him in the Hall of Fame because he was the most adaptable cornerback over the past 25 years. I mean, when you talk about the Tampa 2, you got a lot of responsibilities with the press coverage, you know, run coverage, you got the deep thirds. And he went from that press coverage cornerback when it was him and Donnie Abraham to him and Brian Kelly to moving to that slot once they drafted Dwight Smith. And that nickel cornerback, that's a responsibility all on its own. When you go back to the late 70s when teams started going 4 wide and 5 wide, that slot receiver was being covered by a linebacker, so that receiver got to run all over the place. Well, now, Rondé had to go in there, act like a linebacker, cover a wide receiver, and still handle all of his responsibilities. And he was able to do that, get picks, get sacks when ordered to, and support on the run. It's not like he was a weak link against the run. It's not like he couldn't handle the Wes Welkers of the league who ran those crossing routes with, effectiveness. And when the Bucs Tampa 2 ran out and they went to whatever that you call that last year, he was still able to function. And you got to reward longevity. I mean, he's done this over what, 12, 15 years?
That's a good point, but you talk about longevity. I haven't even talked about Everson Walls. 57 interceptions. Okay, you talk about versatility, the ability to play corner, and then later on safety. All right, it's mind-boggling to me how Everson Walls, remember the Dallas Cowboys, the Giants when they won Super Bowls. Okay, incredibly versatile. 57 interceptions. He's not in the Hall of Fame. Rondé was great. He might get in there one day. You know who I compare Rondé with? I compare Rondé with guys like Eric Davis. Remember him with the 49ers, later the Panthers. Okay, 44 interceptions. Very good on the island by himself. Okay, a lot of people might be saying, Eric Davis, do your homework. Trust me, he was nice. Okay, I think if you put Eric Davis in that scheme with the Bucs, he would have done just as well. I don't know if it's just effectively, but if the play wouldn't have dropped off that much. I don't know, though, if you could put Rondé in other schemes and that production would still be there. The film don't lie. He was a great player in the Bucs scheme, which is the most important thing. I just don't see him being better than Ty Law, certainly not Everson Walls, certainly not Eric Allen. I'm not even thinking about taking him over Aeneas Williams, okay? Not taking him over Hasty. And I don't want to say he compares to Ray Crockett, who, don't sleep, Ray Crockett was a good corner, and he was effective, 15 sacks, 36 picks. 2 Super Bowls with the Broncos. It's just, I don't see the rush to where we got to get all these Bucs in here, especially when you only went to 1 Super Bowl. I don't see it.
Okay, you see all the cornerbacks that you say did cornerback better than Rondé Barber. Name one cornerback out of that list that could have garnered the sack plus interception stats that he got.
Oh, easily, Aeneas Williams. Easily. If Aeneas Williams was asked to go ahead and play cloud corner, cloud which means hold the flats, support the run, there's no doubt about it. Aeneas Williams would knock guys' heads off. And that's what made Rondé special, his ability to go in there. And Rondé, if you ever seen Rondé in person, they list Rondé at 184. I think he's bigger than 184, but he's not much bigger. So Rondé's tough as nails, all right? But I would certainly take Aeneas Williams. Ty Law, to me, could be just as effective if he was asked to do that scheme.
Well, there you go. He thinks it'll take a while for Rondé to get in. I think second ballot, maybe not first ballot, but he's got the stats and the longevity to get it done. Brian says he's got at least 8 other cornerbacks that did what he did it better, and brought more thunder. But hey, we could take that all over the place. We're talking more sports when we come back. Some of your favorite sports, some of our favorite sports, but it's sports. It's Jack Sports TV, brought to you by Vegas Showgirls. Get your ticket from that game. Bring it to Vegas Showgirls. Get in free. Have a good time.